Hey everyone, this is the Leetcode time. So in this video there are two goals. The first goal is to see how to solve this problem, and then we are going to put some code there. And the second one is to see how to behave during a real interview. So let's get started. Remember, the first step is always to try to understand the problem and also ask some clarification questions in case there is anything that is unclear to you, and at the same time think about the edge cases. So let's take a look at this question. So group shifted strings. So given a string, we can shift each of its letter to a successive letter. For example, ABC could be shifted to BCD, and we can keep shifting which forms the sequence. Alright, so let's take a look at this example. Let's say ABC could be shifted to BCD and XYZ as well. Okay, so given a list of the non-empty strings which contain only lowercase alphabet, group all the strings that belong to the same shifting sequence. Okay, so let's see. So suppose input is like this array. We are going to group this into an array of array. So it would be, okay, the first one contains ABC, BCD, and XYZ. Okay, the second one contains AZ and BA. So let's see why. So okay, so A shifted to B, and then the next letter for Z is A. Oh, okay, alright. So, okay. And then A, C, E, F, and A, Z. Alright. So I think I pretty much understand the problem. And let's think about some edge cases. Let's see if there's any constraints. So there's no constraints. I would say definitely think about, say, some input case, like suppose the strings input array is empty. That would be the edge case. Otherwise, I cannot think of anything special for this question. So let's see how to solve this problem. So let's see. Of course, the solution for this problem, of course, there's always a for solution. So for example, we use a for loop within another for loop to compare all the pairs to see if one string is the shift version of the other one. If yes, then we put them together. Otherwise, we just keep going to find other new pairs that are shifted, that are the shifting version between each other. So that one is not good regarding the runtime, because it's for loop within another for loop, and inside of it we need to see whether a string is a shifting version of the other one. So I would say, let's say the average length for, so this is proof false, average length for let's say the average length for each word is n, and suppose we have m words, then the runtime would be O m to the m square n times n. So definitely this is not good regarding the runtime. Let's see if there's any other better option. So I would say another better approach would be you store a better version. A better version is you store everything, all the words, into a hash map, and then you iterate through the input array, input strings array, and try to generate all the possible iterations for each word. Try to generate all possible shifting for each string, and then see if if that exists in the hash map. If yes, then that's the thing. Then we put them together. Otherwise, we just keep iterating through it. So I would say for this one, it's gonna be, suppose the average length of each word is n. So we are going to do 20. We are going to find the 26 possible shifts for each word, and then we are going to iterate through m words. So the runtime for this one would be m times n. It's because although there is a constant which is 26 times m and times n. Because 26 is constant, we just need to omit it in the big O analysis. So let's further see if there is anything that could be even better than this. So I would say currently the best version I can see is we compute the shifting between each letter within the word, and then put the shifting pattern into a hash map. So let me explain this. So currently suppose we have ABC as the input string. So we see that B so B is just one larger than A, and C is one larger than A. So we can say that the shifting within the word, like when we compare the neighbor two characters, it's actually 1 and then 1. Let's take another example. Let's say if it is A, C, F. So C is just a 2 larger than A, so we put the first one as 2, and then F is C, D, E, F. D, E, F is 3 larger than C, so we put a 3 here. So this, we call it the shifting pattern within the string. And then we will have a hash map. So the hash map key is a string which records the shifting version. And the second one would be what are the strings that have the same shifting pattern. Because if two strings have the same shifting pattern, then one word, suppose word 1 has same inward shifting pattern with word 2, then we can safely say that we can shift word 1 to word 2. So that's essentially the idea how to solve this problem. So the runtime here would still be OM times N, but because we are not enumerating all the possible shifting versions of the same word, so we can omit the 26 factor from the last solution. So this one, although the runtime analysis is the same, but actually it is better. So let's see how to solve this problem. Let's put in some solid code here. Alright, so we have okay, sure. So after we find the solution for this, the next part is about coding. So for coding, we care about the coding speed and your correctness of the code, and of course the readability of the code. So let's start to do some coding. Okay. So first of all, we will define the list string. Say this ret as new linked list. So if strings dot to strings dot length is equal to 0, then we just return ret without doing anything. Otherwise, we need to go through the go through the input string array and get the inward shifting pattern for each of them and put it in a hash map. First of all, we define a hash map. So key the string, which is the inward shifting pattern, and the value would be a list. Okay, so let's say I would say there's something worth consider is it possible there are some duplicate words within the input? If we need to do some deduplicate, then definitely we need to have this as a set. Otherwise, we can keep the value of the map as a list. So currently, it's not clear. So let's assume that we can have duplicate words, and then we will see. So let's see map. This is what is that? Pattern words map. Okay, as a new hash map. So first of all, we are going to go through all the strings. Let's say just the string st word strings. So we are going to find the inward pattern for it. So is it possible that there are some words, there are some empty words? I'm not sure, but let's assume there could be. So let's define another helper function here. So let's say we have the private string find pattern. So input is a string, it's a word. So suppose we have this helper function which can find the pattern for it. Then the next step is to do string pattern is equal to find the pattern of the word, and then pattern words map dot put pattern, and then new linked list string. And also it seems like it doesn't say if the return value could be in any order or whatever. So let's assume any order is fine. Okay, so actually there are quite some things to clarify. Like the first one, whether there could be some empty words in the input array. Another thing is if there are any duplicate words in the input strings. And the third thing I can think about is if there could be if the output should be in any order. But yeah, so I forgot to add those questions, but this question didn't clarify those assumptions. So let's say we made the assumption that output doesn't need to be in order, and there could be duplicate words, but we are going to return duplicate words in our result, and also there could be empty strings. Okay, so let's see. So we are going to put the pattern and okay, so if pattern words map dot contains key, if it doesn't contain the key of pattern, then we are going to say pattern words map dot put the pattern new linked list the string. Otherwise and you're going to put pattern words map dot get pattern dot add the corresponding word. Okay, and then finally we just need to go through each of the entry in the pattern words map and add into the result. So string key in say pattern wars map dot key set. So ret dot add pattern wars map dot get pattern. Okay, and finally return ret. So it's time for us to implement the find pattern function. Sure. So if wars dot length dot word dot its length is equal to 0, then we just need to return something empty. We just return a empty thing. If it is 1, if word dot length is equal to 1, then let's return something special. Let's say return a comma, and then we are going to say, okay, for int I is equal to 0, I is smaller than word dot length minus 1 plus plus I. So let's see, this is string builder pattern new string builder. Okay, and then finally we need to return pattern here. You're gonna say, okay, pattern dot append the okay, word car at I plus 1 minus word dot car at I would say this one, let's define it as div is equal to the neighbor character div. We are going to say, okay, integer dot to string div plus the comma. Okay, so we are pretty much code complete with this one. Remember, this is not the final thing. We always need to test this piece of code. So let's go through an example. Let's use the example provided in the input. So suppose we have this input, and first of all we are going to generate the pattern words map. So the pattern words map at the very beginning is going to be something empty, and then so for the first word we call the find pattern for the word, it is ABC. Let's go through the find pattern helper function. So the length of course is not equal to 0, not equal to 1, so the div would be 1 and 1. So the div, so for ABC, find the pattern ABC, it is going to give us 1 comma and 1 comma. So this one, the pattern is 1 comma 1 comma, and the corresponding value is ABC. And then let's this for the next string BCD, it had, when we call the find pattern, it has the same pattern, so we are going to put BCD as one value, append it into the value of key 1 comma 1 comma. So similarly for ACEF, we are going to generate 2 and 2 and 1 comma. Okay, so we are going to put ACEF here, and for XYZ it is going to be added into here after calling the find pattern. And for AZ, the pattern is going to be 25. And then we are going to insert the AZ here. And for the BA, actually, yes, for the BA, it's different. That's the case that break our find pattern function, because a minus b is actually -1. So I would say diff, if the diff is smaller than 0, then we would say diff plus equal to 26. So that would solve the problem. 25 for the 25 comma, then currently a minus b is -1 plus 26 is 25 here, so we have the BA here. And then it is okay, so it is a, so a has a pattern which is comma, and then we put the a here and the z here. Okay, so I'm trying to see if this if branch is still going to break something. Let me see if that could happen. So suppose we have a something, let's say a b c d e f g h i j k l m n. So a n, then the pattern would be 13 and a comma. So if we have something, let's say it is n o p q r s t u v w x y z and a. If it is an a, then it is -13. Okay, so it should be okay. Alright, so let's give it a shot by running this piece of code. Okay, compile arrow. Let's see. We're going to return pattern.toString here. Okay, it's accepted. Let's see. Let's give it a submission. Okay, it's accepted. Alright, so it seems like it falls into our assumption. So for empty string, if there are multiple empty string, we group them together. And if there are duplicate words, then we output all the duplicate words, and we don't care about the output, the order of the output. Alright, so that's it for this coding question. Regarding the task cases, I think only one task case is not enough. So definitely set up some different task cases to cover different branches. So for example, the first one I would say is the empty thing. Or actually, we don't need to do special things here, because if it is empty, then we are not going to the pattern words map is going to empty as well. So let's do a submission for it. Okay, so we can save those 2 lines of the words, 2 lines of the input, 3 lines of the code, and also think about some task cases which can hit this branch. Otherwise, I think we should be good. Okay, so that's it for this coding question. So if you have any question about this problem, feel free to leave me some comments. And also, if you feel this a bit helpful, please give me a thumb up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.